Metal is
Welcome back, bandecfolks. We have started a brand new show. This is the first episode of Metal is Cringe. This is going to be a series where we basically look at like funny news stories. We're going to try to keep them silly, but sometimes there's, if serious stuff comes our way or, heartwarming stuff or things like that. This is a metal news show is what I'm trying to say. And honestly, Phil, I don't think we could have picked a better time to start a show like this because we have like one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard, period. So we're going to get into that, but make sure you stick around after we talk about that as well, because we have some news about everyone's favorite sentient human shit stain, Ronnie Radke. Gojira was on Jeopardy, and a whole lot more. That's enough preamble. Phil, why don't you read the headline of the first article we're going to be looking at today?
How do you pronounce this band?
I don't know. Llorona, just get in there. Eorna, maybe?
Llorona. Hardcore band Llorona fire vocalist over alleged scheme of secretly dosing bandmate with estrogen. What the fuck? What's going on with this?
A Nashville hardcore outfit by the name of Llorona, we believe, recently told quite the tale regarding the firing of their vocalist Diego. The group explained the dismissal via a notes post shared in the stories of the band's Instagram last week. In this, they accused Diego of having secretly been dosing one of the band members. Their name was Six. I wonder if that's their birth name. But they were doing it with estrogen. So essentially forcing a several-month transition onto him. According to the since-deleted post, Diego had allegedly been seeking to weaken Six in hopes of ultimately winning over Six's significant other.
Wow.
It's...
that's gonna be some that's some wild psychopath stuff. Like, what's the end game there? Like
He's going to steal his wife. He's going to weaken him. He's going to be able to knock him out, and then he can take his wife from him. It's a tale as old as time.
It sounds like something you'd do in like a prison. Actually, I'm pretty sure that happened in The Longest Yard with a character with Adam Sandler. Yeah, no, that is wild. That is why in the same band. Like, I've played in bands for so long, and I love so many of my friends. The statement reads as followed. We have decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to admission of a very disturbing and concerning behavior towards one of our band members and their partner. He has admitted to being obsessed with said partner and has been attempting to sabotage their relationship by cutting pre-workout he frequently gifts from his job with high amounts of estrogen in them. That is insane. He has been attempting to force a transition onto him for the last 5 months in hopes that he would be given the opportunity to swoop in once he looks stronger and more manly in comparison. Which is, this tampering has caused confusion with thousands of dollars in medical bills the past month trying to figure out what's wrong. That's crazy, because this person's obviously going like, what is wrong?
Just getting so many tests.
And just being I'm not myself.
There's this just reminded me, there's a crazy conspiracy theory that some people have that when women pissing into the toilets and that water going into our sewer systems and getting clean and coming back as drinking water, the estrogen is collecting and it's weakening men. That's something I've heard before.
We would not know any of this unless Diego had gotten way too intoxicated and ousted himself and then stated an admission to us all via the text. That's insane. So you receive a text being like, hey, by the way, I'm just, I'm drunk. I've been having a few too many White Claws tonight. The blackberry's been going down so well tonight. And I got to admit to you guys, we're a band, so we could tell each other anything.
Yeah, what's on your mind, bro?
I've been giving you estrogen because I'm in love with your significant other.
It's like the plot to like a movie, like a weird movie you'd see on Amazon. Screenshots of the alleged text where Diego admits to trying to feminize his bandmate were published by the band. The most damned one reading, I was really drunk and told Six, his fiance, that I was obsessed with her and had a deep hatred for Six and gave Six estrogen to get the edge up on him. The band's statement continues. The only sealed products he would provide were proteins, but the other products were always unsealed because they were tossed at his job and they couldn't sell it. So that's why he was able to grab them for free. Apparently, he also has easy access to steroids and hormones because of his gym practices. I am going to see an endocrinologist over the next few months to track my hormonal fluctuations to see if my estrogen levels are extremely heightened and go back to normal over time. I've had physical changes from the hormones besides stomach ulcers, weight loss, and muscle fatigue that I will not get into, as well as notable mental changes. I will also be getting the last batch of pre-work he gave me tested for estrogen. I have about 2 to 3 cups full of it left, and he will not pass off what he admitted to as a joke or confusion. Even in his state of drunkenness, what he did is disgusting and has had an immense negative effect on my life. So big if true.
This is a pretty insane story, but it might just be worth busting out that old tinfoil hat because something does seem fishy about this story. This is something that's not adding up.
Well, starting with the fact that this band seemingly has basically no social media presence other than Twitter, where they made this original post. I couldn't find the Instagram that this was apparently posted at either. Furthermore, they seem to have basically no music posted online at all. When you search for the band, the only things that pop up are the details of this story. So I went digging, and I went on the Nashville Reddit itself, and they did have a post about this situation, and all of the comments seem to reinforce the idea that no one really knows who the fuck this band is. We're going to read a couple of the comments here. One Reddit user saying, I have quite literally never heard of these people, and I've been involved in the scene for over a decade.
Yeah, I'm in a Facebook group of musicians in Nashville, and I asked over there, nobody has heard of them either.
I looked them up, and they don't have any recordings, and they've only played like 3 or 4 shows. I think they were mostly house shows.
Not involved in the scene, but when you Google them, basically nothing comes up. Almost makes you think that there's a chance that this is a publicity stunt.
There's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there who I think would love the idea of like a story about someone forcing someone to transition into a woman.
In an age where like we're all so online and we're always after the next story and like crazy, like every documentary these days is just a crazy story that happens to people, and like you kind of go like that's crazy. So like we crave these kind of stories. So this makes sense if it was a publicity stunt.
Now there is one post on Reddit that does seem to clarify why any info on this band may be so hard to find. There was a user that wrote, I play in a metal band in Nashville, and we had a show coming up in May with Llorona as the opener. We haven't interacted with them much yet as they are a brand new group, but as far as I know, this story is true. The main reason I say that is because the band has seemed quite distraught over the publicity, so much so that they deleted their entire social media presence just a day after the story went viral. When Metal Injection first posted their article, they were actively asking them to take the post down in the comments section, of course to no avail. Also, the story is so crazy in such a specific way, I don't know how someone would make that up. No idea if they're still going to play the show, but I doubt it. Hope they are doing all right. Maybe take the tinfoil hat off for now, but, you know, always keep it at arm's reach.
The story is absolutely insane, and we'll be keeping our ear to the ground to see if any follow-up information happens. To those who have been affected by this, my heart goes out to you. I definitely think that is something that is not to be joked about or mess around with. However, if it is a publicity stunt, you're kind of putting people in danger with a story like this. So we'll make sure that we follow this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So next on the docket, everyone's favorite racist uncle's favorite singer, Aaron Lewis of Stained, has released a studio version of his controversial song, Made in China.
Can you say Made in China like Trump?
Yeah, sure. One sec. His controversial song, Made in China, and released a video explaining his thoughts behind the song. We're going to throw that up for you here, assuming that we don't get copyright struck for something like this.
I think it was me that made that exclamation of, well, shit, I ain't made in China. There was a lot of things around the room that when we started picking them up, they had a Made in China label on the bottom of them. Once again, with every line that was written, there was like a little bit of a celebration between me and Bobby. Like it was, and it just came. And it's how I feel. And I think it's how a lot of people feel. And everybody has to have a way of saying it. You know?
He's just so brave. It's really interesting to hear a man waxing poetically about, like, writing a song where the hook is like, well, I ain't made in China.
It's a weird thing to complain about. And I've always find it that, you know, the people will always find something to complain about. In fact, this actually reminds me of, you know, yesterday at work, I was talking to a coworker and we were going on about the live action Disney movies, right? Which, you know, can get into some weird territories depending on who you're talking to. And we brought up the Lion King remake, and we said, you know, the Lion King remake is pretty good. And my one coworker said, and you know what? The weirdest part is he was totally serious and he wasn't making a joke. He's like, yeah, it's like an all serious movie. Like it's, you know, hyper realistic movie, you know, of all these lions and whatnot. But they don't have balls on any of them. And I'm like, it's a Disney movie.
No, those lions were made in China. Hey, if you like this song, all power to you. His album is called The Hill. It's coming out on March 29th. Speaking of controversy,
Power Trip comment on their upcoming reunion shows. After a somewhat controversial return to the stage last year, Power Trip have now confirmed their first full-fledged return to the first ever No Values Festival. That event will also feature sets from the original Misfits, Social Distortion, Turnstile, and many more. As with Power Trip's surprise live set in December of last year, Scourge/Fugitive vocalist Seth Gilmore will once again be taking the vocal duties during the band's 2024 concerts, stepping in for the late Riley Gale. February 20th, Power Trip revealed that they will be playing several shows this year. And they stated,
nearly 4 years ago to the day, unbeknownst to us, we would perform for the last time as Power Trip. It has been a difficult road since then, marked by deep pain, grief, and everything else that came with losing our brother Riley. We know this can't be undone, and it will always remain part of us. We have thought deeply about the future of Power Trip, and what always comes back to us is that this band was founded on resilience, perseverance, and most importantly, a love for the music and for all of the people it has brought us closer to along the way. We'll never have the words to convey our appreciation for the enduring support we've received over the years, and we feel as though the time is right to get back on stage for all of you who've been here throughout the existence of our band. Riley Gale forever, Power Trip forever. I wasn't fully aware that there was really any sort of controversy around the return to Power Trip. When bands lose frontmen to tragedy, the most infamous example being Mitch Lurker of Suicide Silence, it seems to become a complete Sisyphean task for any vocalist to take their place. And I just want to encourage people to try to remember that constantly reminding the new vocalist that they aren't Riley, or like you've always done to Eddie Hermida, letting him know that he's not Mitch, still to this day. This isn't productive. It shows a lack of respect for the rest of the members, and most of all, I'm positive is not what the deceased would want either. So if you have a problem with Power Trip continuing on, that's totally your prerogative, but maybe don't go online and harass these dudes for wanting to continue to play the music they created.
Like we see it all too often when a front man gets replaced, and you know, especially due to tragedy, like this isn't the way to approach these kind of situations. We gotta, you know, kind of respect a new band, and like this is what I always like to say to people. You know, you don't need to like a band's current stuff. That stuff doesn't need to be for you. You can always go back and listen to these records that exist. They're there for you to listen to. Sure, maybe it wants you to crave more of that, but that's part of the specialty of that kind of record. Maybe they moved on from it. They ditched it. Maybe they have a record in between that still kind of has that sound. Go back and listen to kind of those records if you really want to listen to them. But also accept that this is a new era. People go through different cycles through life, and like it's time for bands to evolve. You can stay the same band the entire time, and then you're going to just complain about them sounding the same, or a band can evolve and sound completely different, and you're just going to complain about that. So you're always going to have those kind of people. You're always going to see those kind of comments, but it's especially disrespectful when somebody's like passed away in a situation like this.
Yeah, so I say we turn down the seriousness just a little bit here and get into something a bit more lighthearted. So Turnstile, Speed, and more are to appear on the WWE 2K24 soundtrack, thanks to Post Malone.
That's crazy. How did that happen?
Well, Diamond certified trap crooner and all around seemingly good guy, Post Malone, has been given the task of being the executive producer on the new WWE 2K24 games.
Cool.
He's doing the soundtracks. As a little salute to the hardcore and metal scene, he's added Turnstile, Speed, Military Gun, and Pigs to the soundtrack. Now, as guys who grew up through the Tony Hawk Pro Skater era, we cannot understate the importance of the video game soundtrack and the effect it can have on your band. These games themselves haven't exactly been releasing in the greatest quality lately. But hey, being on the soundtrack's super cool, and I wish those guys the absolute best. It's awesome to see, a band like Speed getting attention like that.
The thing about sports games specifically is they're made for the people who are really about that sport, whether it's wrestling, hockey, or football. Whether you want it, you're going to want the newest roster and you're going to want the latest wrestlers because there's always being added and new outfits are being added. So like there's always a demographic who are always going to be buying these games. As it stands, a lot of the younger folks who are into wrestling, kind of follow up with these games. So I do feel like you're not wrong with it being in the same lane of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, because, these are typically like a 10, maybe 9 to 13-year-old range who are picking up and playing these games for the most part. Obviously there are lots of...
It's real to me, damn it!
It's still real to me, damn it!
But so that's awesome. That's super cool. We love when bands like Turnstile and fucking Speed are making moves and fucking video games. We love
Turnstile was in that episode of I Think You Should Leave as well. They premiered a song in an episode of I Think You Should Leave, which is very, very interesting.
Insane. Next on the dock, I'll take French band. Do you want me to say Alex or do you want me to say Ken?
Say Alex. Fuck Ken. Who's Ken?
Okay. Ken Jennings. He's the fucking smart ass dude.
Now I have to leave this in.
Next up on the dock, I'll take French metal bands for 500, Alex.
Answer. Daily Double.
Gojira recently got a mention on Jeopardy this past Friday, February 23rd. The French progressive metal band From Mars to Cyrus's track Where the Dragons Dwell was a part of a question in the pop culture dragons category. The group themselves posted the footage for everyone to see.
No clue from Pop Culture Dragons. Where Dragons Dwell is a swell song from this band that took its name from the Japanese word for Godzilla. Suresh.
What is gorillas?
No, I'm sorry. Matthew.
What is Gojira?
Gojira is the band.
Also, just to quickly throw in, Gojira did mention in October last year that they were working on a new album, and they said that it might be their heaviest one yet. So I'm pretty excited. I didn't get into this band for a long time, and then I listened to Fortitude, and I was just blown away. And then I went back to Magma, and I was blown away. And
Magma.
Yeah, an absolute banger of a band. Next on the dock, Tool's Maynard James Keegan, my favorite person. Scolds fan for using his phone. As many Tool fans know, the band is typically pretty militant when it comes to making sure that their sets aren't being filmed during their live shows. I guess Maynard had it and he just snapped at a fan, ironically while performing the track Intolerance.
Put your fucking phone away, dickhead. Seriously.
Put your fucking phone away. Seriously.
Oh my god, yeah. So to me, this is very much like a old man yells at cloud moment. I do understand the sentiment, but at the same time, this person probably paid a pretty hefty ticket cost to see you perform live, and now you are taking away from a performance that is like has thousands of people in an arena to see you, to focus on one person doing something so inconsequential. I think it's weird when people are on their phones the entire time an artist is performing. I've seen artists like Tyler, the Creator, and Kendrick, like big artists, and they'll like be on their phone. They'll be watching the entire show through their phone. I saw one guy at Kendrick. He was Snapchatting the show to people, but sorry, I said that wrong. And this is a real story. When I was at Kendrick Lamar, the dude sitting in front of me was taking Snapchats of himself like dancing and vibing to it and then sending it to like 20 girls in a row. And he was doing it the entire performance. It was crazy.
It's a weird flex.
If you're on your phone during a show, it's a little cringy, but I just get secondhand embarrassment watching a dude deal with it that way.
But when I went and saw John Mulaney, they actually had this like company.
You put it in the bag?
It wasn't even a bag. They put it in this like magnet locked thing, and I couldn't even. They took my watch.
You tried to film John Mulaney on your watch?
Yeah. They took my watch and they took my phone, and like, you know what? Honestly, it was a better experience, but like, I just wanted to know what time it was at all times. Like, I just all I needed to know was the time.
You know what though? I will say though, I think a comedy performance is like watching someone's stand-up routine through someone's iPhone is going to be a much better experience, and you're still going to basically get the drift. If I want to see Tool live, watching someone's Instagram stories really isn't going to add up to the actual experience of seeing them live. Whereas like if you're filming someone's comedy special, it's just a guy talking. Yeah, it's just a guy talking on stage. So yeah, I actually think that's more valid.
Now for some good news. Year of the Knife members recently played their first show since last year's van accident. That's super huge. Now, so if you weren't aware, Hard Death Outfit, Year of the Knife were victims to a horrific van accident last June that left the band with a ton of medical debt and life-changing injuries. This was terrible. Vocalist Madi unfortunately suffered the worst and was medically induced in a coma, as she would need a litany of surgeries in order for her to, well, survive. The community came together and a GoFundMe raised more than $100,000 in a single day and capped off the raising at $200,000 to help pay the band's exorbitant medical bills.
Yeah, okay, so this doesn't exactly sound like good news when you hear all that. We're happy to announce that Madi and her husband Brandon, the guitarist of Year of the Knife's other band, Damnation Domain, which is like a death metal-y band, they played a show back on February 10th. Madi plays bass in this band, and Brandon actually is the one who does vocals.
Cool.
Yeah, the album Year of the Knife dropped last year. No Love Lost is one of my favorites of the year. It's crazy, super heavy. I'd love to hear those songs live, but for now, I'm just happy to see that, you know, Madi can get back to playing at all. We wish her, you know, absolute best, the speediest recovery possible. And yeah, hopefully Year of the Knife is doing a tour sometime soon with her back on vocals.
That we would love to see that. That's awesome.
Oh no, it's that time, buddy.
I guess we should finally jump into the Ronnie Radke report.
Let's go. So, Falling in Reverse's Ronnie Radke calls out the entire hardcore scene.
Oh, God.
Not content to just beef with the entire current death metal scene, the world's most insecure person, Ronnie Radke, took to Twitter to vent his frustrations with literally the entire current hardcore scene in a now deleted tweet. The tweet read as follows.
I find it hilarious that the new hardcore kids are all a bunch of bitch-made, soft-ass communist dick riders with pronouns in their bio, reciting lyrics from bands talking about how tough they are and how violent they are. Hardcore used to be cool.
It actually makes a lot of sense to me, because when I think of hardcore and punk music, I immediately think about how much I love capitalism and how much I hate pronouns.
So, I think what he's referring to is all the problematic bands. You know, Ronnie misses Life Ruiner is what's going on here.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, this happened before, and we talked about it privately, but with the Thy Art is Murder discourse that was happening, I think last year, earlier this year, I can't remember. God, things happen so fast. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there were people in the comments saying things like, oh, like, have you heard the lyrics to Whore to a Chainsaw? And it was like, they're a deathcore. What do you mean? It scares me so much that sometimes people listen to like a band like, you know, Whitechapel's Somatic Defilement album, and they're like,
it's real to me, damn it.
It's still real to me, damn it.
He's just saying what we're all thinking. Like it's really weird. And look, whether you agree with Ronnie's takes or not, we don't. You have to admit that this guy just can't seemingly ever stop complaining about everything. He's the type of guy that makes me realize why certain famous people have like media handlers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like as someone who's been past their prime musically for like literally the better part of 20 years, he could just be rich and putting music out and living a private life. But instead, he reads every tweet and every article and watches every video about himself, and he just will not shut the fuck up. I really think it's time for someone to take away his social media.
Well, maybe someone did. Just 2 days later, on February 27th, Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse social media and official website have all disappeared.
Ronnie's Twitter has seemingly been deleted, along with his official website, fallinginreverse.com, which just goes to a 502 bad gateway error. Has Ronnie been canceled by the woke media, guys? Is Ronnie's freedom of speech under attack? Well, you guys still have those tinfoil hats you had earlier, right?
No, normally when you were removed from Twitter, it would show a message that the account has been suspended rather than deleted. And I'm sure that you are just as aware as us just how lucrative the cancel grift has become. So I feel pretty comfortable saying that I'm basically positive this is some sort of publicity stunt.
Yeah, now I do want to say as well, before you accused us of being biased and just hating Ronnie, we will acknowledge that before he was banned, he had been helping out a couple fans to pay like credit card and medical bills.
Sure.
Now, very publicly, I might add. It was very important to Ronnie that everyone saw what a good guy he was being. But as they say, a broken clock is right twice a day. So, you know, it's nice that he helped out his community. Now, my money's on Ronnie coming back with some sort of song about how he cannot be canceled. Maybe he'll finally do the Tom McDonald team up that a lot of morons have been begging for. Who knows? Honestly, who cares? If Ronnie never came back to the internet, the world would probably be a better place for it. But Phil, Ronnie's a roach. And even if the world was to end in nuclear devastation, Ronnie would be the sole survivor, and he would complain into the void that the charred corpses around him were soft-ass woke libtards.
Oh, Ronnie.
Ronnie!
Yeah, no, Ronnie, I think he says, you know, part of me feels like he is playing a character and has just gone so far off the map that he's like the loose cannon. Like, you don't necessarily know whether he's playing the character, like his character has bled into this person. Because like, there's a reason why we're talking about him, because he's saying all this wild shit. Like, he's almost very similar to a very popular anti-Semitic mainstream rapper that just seems to be in the spotlight with just like either putting out music or just saying and doing wild things. And I think, to be honest, they are following very much of a trend of a former president who also used to do the same thing. They used to just say wild things and do wild things, and they would often be in headlines. And every day it was just getting weirder and weirder. So whether or not Falling in Reverse has actually done something about Ronnie's actions, or this is a publicity stunt, or this could just be another album cycle, because once in a while bands do this. So let's hope that we never see them again. Let's just hope that this is the end of Ronnie.
I unfortunately don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to pop up soon. He's going to have his uncancelable rap, rock, metal, rap god with breakdowns anthem. And
yeah, with Hollywood Undead.
Yeah, Ronnie's going to outlive us all, because that's the unfortunate reality of the world. So, and it's funny that you brought up a certain rapper who acts very similar. a very mainstream rapper, because I actually deleted it out of the notes for this episode. But yeah, if I had to actually guess, and I wasn't even going to get into this necessarily, but if I had to guess, Ronnie is, I don't think he has political beliefs. I think he's just a contrarian. And he thinks that it's more popular to be empathetic and supportive, so he needs to be the contrarian of that. You know what I mean? Like everything, all of his opinions are just based off of what do I think is the less popular opinion, and how can I be contrary? Right. It's very like edgy. Most of us grow out of this when we're like teenagers. You know what I mean? Not Ronnie.
Yes.
Not Ronnie.
Yes.
Ronnie.
Well, that's going to do it for Metal is Cringe.
Also say it normal just in case.
Okay, yeah. That's going to do it for Metal is Cringe. Thank you for sticking around, watching to us. Let us all know what you think down below in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. If you want a discount on Lander, look in the bio there, and you can just click the link, and we'll hook you up with that.
Thank you for checking out the first episode of Metal is Cringe. Bye.
Let's make metal gay again.
Let's make metal gay again. Gay. Everybody's gay.